What's going on, guys? In this video, I want to give you a tip or a drill that you can do that will power up your kick a little bit through the end of your kick, the snap, the dragon's tail that whips. Now, when I say the word snap, I don't like using that when it comes to Muay Thai kicks, because then you think of like traditional martial arts where you're here and you're like snapping your kick and pulling your heel back. And that's just not something that we do in Muay Thai. Remember, we swing the kick like a bat, but it's not, some do kick where it's just very straight all the way through, but that's not really how you throw a Muay Thai kick. Muay Thai kick starts with the knee and then of course the whip on the end, boom, right? You can learn to get a pretty decent kick going, right? And stiffening up your leg and straightening it. But if you can get a good whip on the end of it, the dragon's tail, so you want to look at the kick more like a whip. I don't know if you remember in the video that we did with Crew Daniel, he explained that you want it like a whip.
They get super stiff on the kick. Remember, it's a whip. It's a whip. It's a hard whip, of course, but it's not like a motion.
So I use the bat to tell people like that's how you want to throw it, to gotta get their propensity to snap it back, to get that out of them. Then I tell them, okay, now you want a whip, and I describe it as a dragon's tail, like the dragon whips the tail, it's a whip. Now understand, guys, this drill, this tip is to improve the kick that you already have. If you don't know how to throw a Muay Thai kick or a roundhouse, this isn't something you do to kind of start learning. I have an entire playlist, I'll put a link up here, on how to like work towards or start from the zero and learn how to throw a proper roundhouse kick. This is to improve the kick you already have. So because you're grounded, you don't have the full strength of your hip, not even your core really. A lot of the strength from that kick comes from that snap at the end of the kick. So I started having my students do that recently, this type of kick. Grounded, and I said, focus on your upper body. The rotation, the arm swing, and then the kick itself, and focus on the snap at the end of the kick, or the whip. Keeping that foot grounded, basically disengaging this leg. Because if you go through my tutorials, this is what I call a foundational leg, and this generally elevates, and that's where that last bit of power comes into your kick. But you're keeping this grounded, so you're not using this leg really, you're just using it as a post. Okay, and then you step, bam. So you are working the last bit of the kick, the whip. So as you're warming up, you do like 10 or 20 of those on each leg. Then you move into roundhouse kick, yeah? So we're here, of course, tall is strong. So I take my step and then I'm gonna elevate up through my kick, and now I am going to engage this foundational leg and elevate and make myself as tall as possible. And I'm gonna throw my hip at the target, not the whip, not the end of my kick. So I'm throwing my hip at the target, not my shin. When I throw my shin at the target, even if I elevate this leg, you end up with that. See how my hip is still sunk, right? I'll do it on this side, right? So my hip's not engaged. And you see a lot of roundhouses like that. So what you really need to do is now engage this, throw your hip, and you should have this whip already because you just trained it. Now your kick is complete. So what's happening is now you're elevating, and now your hip is in there, and then boom, your dragon tail whips on the end. Here, elevate, my hip throws forward, boom, my dragon tail whips on the end. Like I always say, all strikes start in the earth, okay? So you start from the ground up. Once you step, your power starts to generate here. It comes up through your body. You're rotating. Now it's up in your hips. You start to turn your hips. Now it's in your core. It's rotating, rotating into this leg, up through your arms. Now your arms whipping. And then you want all of this kinetic power that's coming up, and boom, and it all ends in the end of that kick, whipping through. Any break in all this movement breaks the kinetic chain. It's here. I broke the chain the minute I didn't even start the chain. So my leg is here, and then the strength is only here. And then there's a little bit, and then it kind of breaks again because I'm tight here, but now my hip doesn't throw through. So all the power is just on the whip. So when you're warming up, that's what you're training. You're putting basically all the emphasis on the whip. Then you put everything up through the chain, right? From the ground up, and then everything generates up through all through your body, up into the end of that kick. Boom. I hope that makes sense. So give that a try, 10 or 20 on each leg before you start really going to work with your regular roundhouse kick. See if it increases the power of your roundhouse kick. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.